We can all be good. Some of us are poor. We can be good. But to be excellent requires a lot of discipline. It doesn't come that easily because the temptation to relax, I don't need to do this extra credit. Who needs extra credit? I've had a lot of extra credit. I'm anyway getting 95, it's an A. Who wants a super A? If there's no super A anyway, why bother? Okay, somebody is connecting with somebody at some level. So why put the effort in? If you knew that in fact you use only 10% of your cranial capacity, what would you say? You have trapped inside your head and inside your body 90% of power, including your intelligence and yogic power, that you don't even know about. You're not even aware. You're just working with a little bit. I can see, I can hear, I can touch, just those few things. But how well honed are these? You see, until we are faced with a crisis in our lives, we never explore new avenues. I'm very good at Java. I'll do Java until Java is obsolete, no jobs are to be got. Now I have to go back to school and learn something new at my age and with all the stress. Now the universe had planned for you to do this a long time ago. But you were too lazy. You were just too lazy. You were quite happy just doing whatever you know, not using any part of your intelligence or your ability. This is comfortable. It gives me my 60K at the end of the year. But if you learn that other program, not only can you get 100K, you can start your own consulting company. That is all too much. That is all too much work, too much stress. Why bother? I'll just do another job. So you take a 10% cut and do something in the same line of work. Why? What are you scared of? It's all a joke anyway. And once you go, nobody is going to bother whether you learn Java, I don't know any other program names, I'm really sorry, but I'm repeating the same thing. Or you learn something else. Who is going to check? Right? So why bother? Your competition only becomes real if it's with peers. She went to an MBA, so I will do an MBA. She did an executive MBA, so I'm going to do that. If you actually competed with yourself and raised the bar for yourself, you would be absolutely surprised at what you're capable of doing. The thing is, if we take a new step in a new direction, it comes with new responsibility. We already are burdened. My children are going to school, I have to take them to this class, that class, this thing, to go to work and come back, I have to cook dinner, I have to sleep. Weekends, I've got so many Shashtriyapta Purtis and Sweet 60, I've got my time full. I just don't have time for anything new. And so you go week after week, month after month, year after year, at the same boring level. You have never examined to see what more you're capable of. And when it all gets too much, the universe decides, I'm going to collapse your world. And that's when you lose your job, or you have a major health catastrophe, or something else happens, and you're left in a situation where, oh my God, now what? Now what? And now you tap into your brain and see, what more can I do? How can I raise myself? How can I make myself even better? How can I provide for my family? Because it's instinct, it's survival, it's self-preservation at that point. And that instinct is very strong and distorted in our minds. You see, your soul, your self is very pure. And when the soul needs to self-preserve, it performs all the actions that raise it to higher levels. So acts of kindness, graciousness, caring, sharing, compassion, doing for others, giving away, charity. These are acts that the soul does to preserve itself. But when the mind distorts what the soul needs in terms of self-preservation, you confuse what is happening in your life. You confuse everything and think that that person is detrimental to me. This job is detrimental to me. This country that I live in is detrimental to me. You have a false idea of what you need to survive, to do all right. And your actions become completely from the wrong motivation. The motivation always has to be, if you want to touch your source, is that how can I give the best that I have? What do I have to give? What do I have to offer? What am I capable of doing? And how can I make it work? The best thing that happened to me, and we face a lot when we're rising in trying to be better and better. The one thing that the universe throws in our path is hurdles, rejections. Now rejections are even worse for a damaged soul. A soul that thinks that, oh my God, he's rejecting me and now I need to give this all up. God, only 3 people came for meditation, no need for meditation class. What am I doing? Coming and talking to 3 people. It's not the 3 people that one is affecting. If I think like that, and I trust me, there are days that I do think like that. Why? Because I want to talk to a hall full of people. It's something to do with my ego, I guess. At those times, I remind myself of how I am distorting everything. The process, the messages I give are not for just this audience. They're for me to reach higher standards of excellence. It is not for you that I speak. It is for me. To raise myself to understand all these distortions that are there from years of samskaras, from years of living, from years of living in a society that's manipulated everything and made it so unclear. Where am I going? What am I doing? These things, sometimes your samskaras come in your way. Raise yourself to higher standards. The way I behave in front of you, do I behave like that always? Or am I just putting on a front here? Right. That you have to ask Rajiv.
Yeah.
All of us. All of us. We have standards of excellence, but those standards drop in different company. And I'll tell you the story that Joel Osteen talked about, which is a very small incident, but very beautiful. He says he opened his car trunk and the newspapers flew out. He had a stack of newspapers. There was a breeze and they all flew out. For 1 second, he said, I'm in a rush. Oh, why bother to pick up? They'll fly anyway, they're biodegradable. You know how it is. Why bother? Then he said, no, it's not right. I have to live up to what I am, I cannot litter the environment. It's not what I stand for. It's not part of my value system. So he took the 10 minutes to go around the parking lot and pick up those newspapers. And apparently, as he got into his car, the window next to him, they put down the window. And the old lady said, Joel Osteen, I'm so happy to make your acquaintance. We were just wondering what you were going to do. And he goes, thank you, Joe, Lord Jesus, for making me do the right thing. It's beautiful because these are small things. And sometimes if nobody's watching, we'll let it go. We let those things slide. We don't live up to our own standards of excellence. Yeah. So what have you thought about in terms of your standards of excellence? What are you capable of? What can you do? You can do anything you set your mind to. The whole world is at your disposal. You have no idea what you are capable of. You are terrified of the responsibility. I cannot be the leader of the community. I will not join this committee. I will not join that committee. I will not raise my voice against this. Who's going to go to vote 2 hours? You have to stand. I'm not going to do this. No. We have to develop within us a very clear idea of who we are and what we stand for. And sometimes it may be extremely difficult to live up to your own ideals. And sometimes you might feel a lot of guilt because you've seen that you've fallen short of your own expectation of yourself, of the standards you set for yourself. And that's all part of the baggage. It's part of the distortion. This distorted image of how we're supposed to be and what people are supposed to think of us and how we're supposed to behave in public and who we're supposed to be associated with and which colleges and which schools are we supposed to go to, which areas are we supposed to live in. The area you live in, the car you drive, this does not determine the level of excellence you've reached. The level of excellence is something you can't see. It is something no one can gauge. There is no gauge for this. No one can say you got 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 because it's your own gauge. It is something you created for yourself. It is not something that can be compared to anything else. It compares only to itself. We don't want to think of certain things when we're lacking in character in so many parts of our life. I am. I know that for a fact. And we do 2 things. Either we don't think about that. Just push it here. It's gone under the chair. Nobody is going to know. But I know. I know where I'm lacking. And that is more difficult to live with. To live up to my own standards is much harder. But we try each day. We try each day to go a little bit higher, little bit better. Excellence. Competing with your own levels of excellence. It's a tough one.